talking about a misdemeanor that would have already expired under the statute of limitations. I'm not even convinced that there was really a misdemeanor that Trump committed. I would challenge her to see if she could possibly articulate how and what crime Trump committed, because so far Alvin Bragg, the DA, has failed to do so. The judge in the case, Judge Merchan, has failed to do so, and they can't do it because Trump didn't commit any of the crimes for which he's been convicted.
What crime did Trump commit?
It was financial crimes. It was white collar crimes. That is exactly what they charged him. He was convicted on.
What was the crime?
It's New York State law.
I understand. What was the crime?
It is New.
Francesca,
I don't even like it. It is
Well, hang on, Mark.
He just got convicted on 34 counts.
Francesca, what was the crime?
Of like cooking the actual books.
What was the crime?
You are not allowed. So you are not allowed to use your own financial, like your own money, to pay off somebody, and then he logged it as something different. He logged it as just a regular payment, but he was actually paying off this porn star to keep quiet, which, if he hadn't been running for president, would not have mattered, but he was, and so it impacted campaign finance laws in New York State. Okay, that is what Juan Merchan just oversaw this. Alvin Bragg brought these charges because Michael Cohen, his fixer, was already sentenced to 3 years to do it.
Let's just go before, Kevin, I'll be very, very, very patient. I will come to you.
Look, I'm no expert.
So 4-on-1, and she did a fantastic job. I'll play some moments here. Again, this is on the topic of Trump now being a convicted felon, retrospectively assessing the criminal trial that he just went through. And here's the first moment. Michael Knowles is the person that she'll first be going back and forth with. Then stick around for the back and forth she has. It's really good where she mocks Trump, brutally so, and that's her back and forth with Piers Morgan. But here is Michael Knowles and Francesca Fiorentini. And remember that Knowles is the one who recently said, and actually let me jump over to this post before going any further. He said, abolish term limits, make this man president for life, referring to Donald Trump. And he also was the one who called for the eradication of transgenderism. So pretty unhinged person. Here it is.
Prison so that he can't campaign for the election. I agree, it's backfiring.
This is not a federal case, Michael. You know that. It's not even a federal case. Why do you think that it's not a DOJ case? It's not a Biden case. It's not a Merrick Garland thing. It's New York State law. So the idea that this is somehow politically motivated is all made up in your head, because what you do on your show every day is you groom your audience for fascism, and you set them up for a complete takeover, all about allowing Trump to get away with any crime he wants, as you sort of slighted and sort of, laid out very nonchalantly just a little bit ago. He was impeached twice. Doesn't really matter that he tried to blackmail the leader of Ukraine into digging up non-existent dirt on Joe Biden, but that doesn't matter to you
Joe
or
Biden
your
threatened
followers.
to withhold arms.
You want to make sure. You want to make sure that when
you're
Trump is
accusing me
reelected,
of fascism.
he can get away.
That's a big,
He can get away
you're
with
accusing
getting
me of
rid of the
fascism. That's a
Department of
big
Education.
charge. All I would point out is that it's not
And then, actually, let me play a little bit further.
my party that's imprisoning its political opponents right now. So
if we're going to throw that accusation about it. I was about to say one of the key tenets of fascism is you imprison your political opponents. Let me come back to Margaret.
And
the leftists in your mind are making that argument.
Sorry?
I said only the Democrats and the leftist mob in your mind are making that argument that you're opposing to it. I will say this about Stormy Daniels. I think it's incredible that she accepted $130,000 from Michael Cohen, because honestly, if I had the misfortune of sleeping with Donald Trump, no matter what the circumstances, let's say I had mad cow and then I did DMT on an empty stomach. If I had the misfortune of sleeping with Donald Trump, there is no amount of money you could pay me to keep quiet about it, because I would never tell a single soul. I would fake my own death and move to the Galapagos and pretend to be a bird.
I mean, I would say it's very unlikely you would ever get the offer, but you do look quite like Karen McDougal, funny enough.
Oh, so I'm not cute enough to.
No, I just said you are. I said you're very much in his.
That actually is a compliment. Yes.
Yeah, it was a compliment.
All right, of low character behavior. I don't even know how you think those things connect in your mind. It's stunning. It's embarrassing. Piers, get yourself together. So much credit to Francesca Fiorentini for having to deal with all those individuals in the MAGA arguments, but she did a...
Luke Beasley is very intelligent and very talented, and puts out some exceptional videos. I can say this because unlike Luke Beasley, I'm not a propagandist and I'm not a tribalist. So I'm not here promoting one tribe or the other. I'm here to speak about truth and reality. Luke Beasley is here to speak about convenient truths and reality that are either the most profitable for him or the most comfortable for him to speak about. Calling out a left-winger for doing a horrific job, which in effect helps Trump and helps MAGA to deceive people, that's uncomfortable. So what he does is he takes the video and picks parts of the video that makes her look good and omits the parts that make her look bad. So to his audience, she did an excellent job, right? They'll never know that she was so irresponsible and so unprofessional to go on a debate to talk about Trump's conviction without being very clear on what the crime is, knowing that the major right-wing talking point is we don't even know what the crime is. And by doing so, she helped to elevate the right-wing argument. Because independents watching this video on Piers Morgan's channel, they're not going to watch Luke Beasley's video, right? They're just going to watch it on Piers Morgan's channel. And on his channel, if you watch the full video, she looks like a left-wing lunatic that doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know the difference between WWE and UFC. She doesn't even know the name of the crime. She had to look it up in between the breaks, making a buffoon like Knowles look like the one who knows more what's going on than she does. Like, how can you look at someone that can make buffoons like Knowles and that lunatic Mr. Wonderful, can make these people actually look like they are sharp and are more knowledgeable about what's going on? I mean, how awful of a job do you have to do to make that happen? Any independent watching that video would not be leaning towards Francesca based on her overall performance, because they're going to see everything, which includes the many portions where she looked awful, right? But Luke Beasley filters out all the bad stuff and shows you just the good stuff, which makes him not unlike right-wing media. This is exactly what they do. There'll be a debate between a left-winger and a right-winger, right? And then somebody like Tim Pool will highlight all the parts that he can make the right-winger look like they were winning, and then title a video how the right-winger destroyed radical leftist, right? And this is exactly what Luke Beasley is doing. Propaganda, right? His job is not to inform the audience and to let them know the reality and truth of things. It is to promote an ideology and demote another ideology. It just so happens that the tribe that he is sided with is more closely aligned with truth and reality, so he doesn't have to be as dishonest as his competitors like Tim Pool, right? But that's not really a factor of his integrity or his honesty. It's just a convenient fact that, again, he has an easier job of promoting the tribe that he chooses to promote. He doesn't have to be as dishonest. So, case in point, in this video, he didn't have to actually lie about anything. All he had to do was simply omit the bad parts. Let me snip out the bad parts and only show the good parts which align with my rhetoric, and then I'm going to lie through omission. The lie is that she did an excellent job when she did a horrific job, an embarrassing job, very unprofessional job. Again, how can you go? It's like I'm going to go on a debate, and we're going to debate climate change, and I don't even know what climate change is. And then Luke Beasley does a video and says, I did an excellent job. She went on a video, on a panel to debate Donald Trump's conviction, not knowing what the crime was. Yet the right wing has been talking about, what's the crime? What's the crime? And she must know this. So did she do any preparation whatsoever? I don't think so. In fact, out of the whole video, because I watched the whole thing, she seemed to have spent more time trying to do her little zingers. And interestingly enough, Luke Beasley eats it up and then puts the zinger like, oh, that was great. She was mocking Donald Trump. Ha, ha, ha. But the effect that Luke Beasley is doing here is helping the right wing. Because again, by him not holding her accountable, he's encouraging her to, again in the future, have an opportunity to speak to a large audience on the other side and potentially reach them, and to not prepare for it, and therefore make it possible for the right wing to use her to present the left wing as just a bunch of lunatics that don't even know what they're talking about, which helps them to manipulate more people and grow their following, right? And help them to smear the left wing and take away credibility from the left wing. So Luke Beasley is helping the right wing by doing this, rather than being honest and saying, listen, I like her and she made some good points, but overall, I don't think she really prepared. But no, he's in a toxic business where you wouldn't want to do that, because maybe they want to do a collab in the future, right? That's when, you're looking at things from a business perspective and putting that first instead of putting the truth, instead of putting your audience first and keeping them informed first, right? He will talk about how dangerous Donald Trump is, but by him elevating this half-assed effort to debate the right, he's helping Trump. He's helping to put Trump in the White House, because how does Trump get in the White House? Right-wingers like Tim Pool and others and Ben Shapiro deceiving their audiences into false reality and not calling out this unprofessional behavior of Francesca is giving fuel to the manipulation fire that is burning in the right wing. This is exactly the kind of stuff they love to exploit, to present this idea that the left wing is just a bunch of lunatics. They don't know what they're talking about. They're uninformed. They're naive. Right? That's the argument that the right wing is making. She helped to promote that message. And by Luke Beasley not calling it out, he could have chosen not to even comment about this. He didn't have to comment about this video. And he could have commented about the video without complimenting her. Right? So he didn't even have to critique her. He could have simply commented about the parts that she did that were great. This is a good point that she's making, blah, blah, blah. But no, he has to go to the extra level of saying she did an excellent job when she did a horrible job, which is essentially a lie. And Luke Beasley is very smart, very intelligent, very articulate. So I'm pretty sure he's aware of how horrible of a job she did. So actually I have to admit that it looks like he's actually lying. The good thing is that he's not lying about the core details, right? He's not lying about Trump. He's not lying about the Trump trial, lying about what Trump said, right? He's telling the truth about that. But he's lying about somebody who is part of his tribe, misrepresenting how they performed. And again, in doing so, helping the right wing. It's just like right now, the right wing is helping Fauci to not be held accountable, right? By allowing lunatics like MTG and Lauren Boebert or whoever they are to be putting on their theatrics and antics. So Fauci, to send your email, all this nonsense. It's helping to smear anyone who has legitimate concerns about Dr. Fauci, right? By having these bad faith actors being the loudest voice, you're putting the Democrats in a position where it's politically toxic for them to acknowledge any concerns about Dr. Fauci. They have to go and pretend like he's a great guy and he's an honorable guy. He didn't do anything wrong. There's no reason to question anything, when there are issues to be questioned, right? But the GOP, rather than taking it seriously and having serious actors present this so it can be taken seriously, opening the door for some Democrats to actually be able to question him as well, without it being a toxic thing for them politically. Rather than doing that, they're allowing this whole circus to go on, which protects Dr. Fauci. It's one of the very reasons why a lot of the stuff people who are concerned about, we believe it's a lab leak. Well, one of the reasons why the lab leak was so suppressed so easily is because of stuff like this, right? The GOP allowing the lunatics to be the loudest voices, rather than controlling these lunatics and having good faith people who are serious people to pose serious questions, thoughtful questions, right? When it's only lunatics that are presenting a certain argument, it's really hard for good faith people to recognize any validity of those arguments. you automatically just assume, oh, these guys are lunatics. I'm not even going to listen to anything they're saying. They're lunatics. Who's going to take MTG seriously other than somebody who's a lunatic themselves? Anybody serious is not going to listen to anything she has to say. So if the GOP really wanted to challenge Dr. Fauci, they would restrict clowns like her from going anywhere near challenging Dr. Fauci. But because they're a bunch of unserious actors, they do what they do, and we get what we get. Luke Beasley, again, does excellent content. It's actually very impressive how he's able to break things down, the friendly manner and the way he communicates, easy on the ears, and I think he strikes just the right balance that could appeal to a wide audience, including people who are independent-minded, right? So he's not just talking to a super partisan left-wing audience. But unfortunately, he's also a propagandist, and this video demonstrates that fact. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.
Great job. Let me know.